Hi everybody, this video is on the total lunar eclipse which happens on the 27th of July 2018. This is also a full moon in Aquarius which is interrupted because of the eclipse, and because it's interrupted the effects of this are going to last for about 6 months. So these eclipses are always very important because they shape the rest of the year really. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of what this total lunar eclipse means for you in terms of your life and what's going to happen in the next 6 months. But just from an astronomy perspective, I just want to explain what a total lunar eclipse is. It's when the Earth comes in between the sun and the moon. So the Earth blocks, they're 180 degrees apart usually, and the sun illuminates the moon, right? That's why it's totally round, that's why it's full, and that's why it's a torch, because it's reflecting the sun's light. Now the Earth comes in between that, and the moon is in the Earth's shadow. And that's why this eclipse is going to look like a blood moon. It's going to look orangey reddish, because the shadow of the Earth, I think it's called the umbra, which is a nice word, umbra. That's the shadow that falls on the moon, and it makes it look reddish. And that's where we get the end of days predictions, you know, the end time predictions. This is not the end of the world, despite what this one, I think, minister is saying. I mentioned this in the weekly horoscope. It's not the end of the world. Part of the human condition is that we need an ending because we read books and watch films, so we're used to endings. It's a psychological need to get closure to the story. It's not the end of the world, so don't worry. It's a beautiful blood moon. It's going to look amazing. I love it when it's moody like that. And we've also got Mars, the red planet, really, really bright this week. Check out the weekly. I think it's on, I can actually look, hang on. You can see Mars all night here on the 27th as well. So Mars is the male principle of desire and passion and drive. So it's a time that's really exciting and fiery. So let's break this down and give you an idea of what's going on. Okay, so first of all, we have the sun at 4 degrees in Leo. So that's what's illuminating the moon. The sun in Leo is very happy. It rules Leo. It's at its most powerful, it's solid. We're in a time of consistent enjoyment, warmth, heat, passion, moving, people being confident and engaging with each other, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or not, it doesn't matter. This is astrological energy, and this time of year tends to be busier and people connect with each other, and that's what we experience as structure. Now the moon is at 4 degrees in Aquarius, and a full moon in Aquarius showers us with its energy. A full moon is the completion point for the moon. It works its little starry behind off all month. It becomes a new moon, pulls in lots of energy so that it can get through its next monthly cycle. And when it's a full moon, when it's totally illuminated, it's like, poof, and it just lets go of all of its energy and it gives the energy to us, and the energy that's given is Aquarius energy. Aquarius is the water bearer, but it's an air sign. It's about thinking, it's about innovating, it's about thinking for yourself and being a free thinker. It's about inventing things. It's about looking at new ways of doing things, more effective things. It's about politics. It's about being a humanitarian. It's about not just thinking about yourself, but looking at the bigger picture of life. It's an Aquarian came up with democracy. That's what I would say. Aquarians really realize that they're not the center of the universe, not everything revolves around them, and that there are many great ideas that can come through them which are going to help the greater good. That's the plus side of Aquarius. The negative side of Aquarius sometimes can be that it's a little bit impractical and it's very much up in the sky having these wonderful ideas, but sometimes it doesn't actually come through and follow through on all of these ideas. That's sometimes the hiccup with Aquarius. So the great thing about this lunar eclipse is that in terms of the modes, so this is just astrology jargon, but the strongest mode is the fixed mode. So that allows you to take practical action. So it's a combination of having wonderful ideas, understanding how you fit into all of this, how you can be of service to the world, to other people, and how to do that consistently and in a practical way. Now, next to the sun, we've got the north node of the moon, and next to the moon, we have the south node of the moon. And when an eclipse happens, it either happens on the north or on the south. When it happens on the north, it's about pulling energy in, and that's going to affect us for the next 6 months. When it's on the south node, it's about releasing something and releasing that for 6 months so you can make space for something else to come in. So this Aquarius moon is on the south node at 5 degrees. So what you'll experience is a sense of, I want to help humanity. And for some people, it's going to be, I can only achieve personal freedom if I help other people. But for the majority of people, I really think that I can have personal freedom in my life and I can be happy without making sure that I take responsibility for everyone else's life, for everyone else's happiness, and that charity begins at home, that I need to be a humanitarian and of service to myself first, and then I can help other people. So what's going to be released is this sense of helping others from guilt and duty, and because it's hammered into your head. Like if your parents or your family told you, you're not good enough, you're always going to have to work harder to get people to like you, you may have internalized that and you may have said, I need to work harder than everyone else because there's something wrong with me and I need to help other people all the time to get them to like me. That's the kind of toxic helping people that is never going to work out. If you have that, and a lot of us do, especially when it comes to family members, it is my duty to help this person even though they were awful to me as a child, or I'm still dealing with the effects of the abuse, but I feel duty bound and obligated to pick up the phone and to help that parent. We all have that. We've all experienced it. I don't think a lot of you are saying, I've never realized that before, totally strange to me. This is an opportunity because it's on the south node at 5 degrees to let go of that and to find emotional freedom and to understand that you can communicate with yourself. Mars is at 3 degrees in Aquarius right next to the moon. That's why it's so bright, because the sun is on the other side of the chart, illuminating Mars, making it just as bright as the moon. And Mars is at 3 degrees in Aquarius, so it says, I'm going to talk to myself and say, what is it that I'm passionate about and what do I really care about? And how can I help myself first and foremost? And the side effect of that, because it's this eclipse in Aquarius, is that if you decide to focus on yourself, you'll discover a passion within yourself that you'll really want to achieve. And the side effect of that is that it will help other people. So it's conflicting. It's important that you don't put the cart before the horse. Cart before horse would look, I help everyone else first and then me. No. And this gives you an opportunity to let go of that behavior pattern. It is a behavior pattern, and we can change the way we behave. We can change the way we think. We can change and we can create new neurological pathways in our brain by changing our behavior. You can't think yourself into new behavior, but you can act yourself into new thinking. So this, let go of that, discover what it is you care about, talk to yourself, have some time with yourself, look at the blood moon and say, oh my God, look at that passionate, beautiful moon, and the red is love and it's passion and it's drive, and it just look at it and just say, what is my greatest heart's desire? What is it that I want? What do I need? What do I care about? And when you get that, that's what's going to allow you to help other people. Black Moon Lilith sits on top of that Mars. So this is a wonderful opportunity, a huge opportunity to transform your life and to stop helping people out of guilt and to start helping people from a genuine place of joy and love and passion. And Black Moon Lilith doesn't want that to happen, because Black Moon Lilith is the ego, and it's always going to try and sabotage you with fear, and it doesn't want you to achieve your life purpose, because it just, I'm sorry, I'm messing with my hair. It just wants you to not achieve your life purpose so that you recycle and recycle and come back and come back and come back. So on this day, you may also feel a little bit of fear once you have got that passion. You look at the blood moon and it's like, oh my God, I'm meant to be a snowboarding instructor. I realize now, oh, I'm meant to live by the sea. Oh, I can paint. I'm going to do it. As soon as that then comes in, Black Moon Lilith says, hello, you can't do this. It's too scary. You're not going to make money with it. Who do you think you are? You can't just be free and guilt-free. You have to live in fear. So expect that to come along. There's a great book on, I'm laughing because there's a great book on this called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, written by Susan Jeffers. I recommend it to everybody, because the way we think is like, okay, I want to open a shop. It's really scary to open a shop, so I'm going to wait till the fear goes away and then I'll open the shop. Will never happen. You have to open the shop while you're afraid. Once the shop is up and running and you're making a profit, only then does the fear go away. So you can never let fear stop you, and especially here during this full moon in Aquarius, lunar eclipse, do not let fear stop you, because it wouldn't be there trying to sabotage you unless you were on the right path. And this lunar eclipse is going to put you on the right path, which is fab. So let's see what other relationships the moon forms with other things in the chart. So obviously it opposes the sun, but it forms a sesqui square, so it's 135 degrees away from Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo is great because Venus is the planet of love and beauty. Virgo is not love and beauty. Virgo is about, let's get things right, let's be effective, let's be organized. Venus in Virgo is going to ensure that you're really sharp and that your feelings don't supersede reality. So you meet someone, they're totally unsuitable for you. Let's say you're someone who doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, and you meditate twice a day. You meet someone during this time. He or she is absolutely gorgeous, drinks like a fish, is addicted to drugs, and is completely promiscuous. But there's huge chemistry there. So you've got a choice. I will connect with this person because who cares? I don't need to be dragged down, and I can just have a little bit of fun, which you can't, because you will be dragged down energetically. Whoever you associate with, whoever you let into your energy field, they either build you up or they drag you down, so be careful with that. But Venus in Virgo, because it's present during this eclipse, if you meet someone like that, it's going to say, okay, very well, she's gorgeous and beautiful, but she does drink like a fish and she does all of these things. So despite my great chemistry and despite this wonderful feeling, this person isn't compatible for me. So I have the presence of mind to ignore my physical feelings and to say, no, thank you, bye, you're not compatible. So Venus really saves you here by letting logic rule instead of your heart. and your physical cravings and needs and desires. The full moon also forms a square with Uranus and Taurus. So it's likely, and it makes sense, that when you discover this passion of yours that will help other people, it's going to change your relationship with yourself. It can change the relationship with the place you live in, because you may have to move to do this work that you're now going to do. It may change your relationships with other people, because you now no longer say, or you no longer call 7 days a week out of guilt, and you start calling once a month out of guilt. That will really change the relationship, and that other person will then put on pressure to try and get you, to manipulate you, to get you back into the fold. That's also where Venus in Virgo saves you, because if someone feels like you're going away from them, if someone feels like they're losing you, they're going to scramble to try and keep you, even if they've treated you very badly, especially if they've treated you very badly, because you're their punching bag. They don't want to lose their punching bag, right? And under normal circumstances, you could be manipulated. Oh, I love you so much. I'm sorry about the last 25 years. I'll change. Yeah, right. Venus in Virgo is going to say, yeah, right, I'm out of here. Under normal circumstances, under usual circumstances, you could say, oh my God, he's never going to make it by himself. He needs me. I do still care somehow. I'm just going to be there for that person and care. That would be Venus in Pisces, for instance. But we don't have Venus in Pisces today. We have got Venus in Virgo, and Venus in Virgo is brutal and blunt and as clear as day, and it says, you are not compatible, therefore you're not welcome, goodbye, out the door. It's really, you don't argue with Virgo in that sense, because when Virgo has made a decision, it sticks to it, and it says, I am the judge of quality. Virgo thinks it is the judge, and I have to be careful with this because I'm a Virgo myself, but in my experience, Virgo are often kind of right, but I think I'm a special Virgo because with me it's more 50-50. Okay, so we've got that Uranus connection. What else have we got? We have got a sextile with Chiron in Aries at 2 degrees. So that's the wounded healer, and that's also going to say, okay, just remember, in the past, you also had these glorious ideas and passions and ideas for your wonderful life purpose, and look at how they crashed and burned and went to smithereens. It's the same energy as Black Moon Lilith, saying, you can't do this, you'll fail. So the fact that we've got both of these negative energies connected to this really means that the ego is threatened by your progress today or by your potential progress. Otherwise, it wouldn't be making such a big deal to try and prevent you from getting through. Do you see? The ego doesn't want to let you go. Same as negative people don't want to let you go. They want you to suffer with them. The ego wants you to suffer with it. The ego created this planet. The ego wants you to remain miserable. Today you can break through and you can leave misery behind, and you can do something that's fun and pleasurable that will help other people as a side effect naturally. So of course the ego doesn't want that, because if we all did that, we'd live on a happy planet where there was no war and there was no murder and there was no competition and mine, not yours. So combined with the eclipse that we had earlier in the month, which is really going to affect our leaders and make them more humanitarian and make them better, combined now with this lunar eclipse where we're taking personal responsibility of ourselves and saying, I'm no longer going to be guilted into wasting my time, and I'm going to say, this is what I really am going to care about for myself. Charity begins at home. I'm going to take care of me first. And it's just arranged by the universe that it just so happens that when you discover your life purpose today, it will be a life purpose that will be of great service to others. If you're at a crossroads, if you have no idea what you're good at work-wise, if you don't have any idea what your life purpose is, It's really easy to find that out in a personal reading because the astrology chart shows me exactly what your talents are when it comes to your career and why you've come back into this lifetime and where you were in past lifetimes. So if that's something that's fuzzy to you, get in touch with me. That's something we can look at very easily. Other relationships, aspect-wise, we have a semi-square with Neptune in Pisces. So it's about your imagination is there helping you actually see the life purpose. So Neptune, like for instance, if you're a clairvoyant, you need to have some imagination to see the images you're getting, okay? If you're a medium and you're connecting with the other side, you have to have some sort of reference point. Like if an older woman is coming through and you smell lavender and you see her in front of you, you've got to have some imagination to actually make contact on an intuitive level with that person. Neptune helps you make contact with yourself, make contact with your own hopes and dreams. It opposes Venus on the other side. Venus says, hang on a minute, are these appropriate dreams? This is not good enough. You need to aim higher, aim higher. And you're really going to be in a position where you can jump the hurdles to get to your highest purpose immediately. I remember I was one of these people who didn't know what to do for work. I started meditating. I changed my life in 2010 and I really turned my back on money and I really chose a spiritual path. And I started to meditate and I was told to become a school teacher, which didn't make sense to me because I had social anxiety at the time. I'm sorry if you guys have heard this before, but I think it's relevant to this. I had social anxiety. Children I hadn't had much to do with, and if I hear screaming children, it's not my favorite sound. But I listened to the guidance of my meditation and I became a school teacher for 2 years. It cured my social anxiety. When you're standing in front of 30 kids, you realize that they don't care at all about you. It's not about you. So you have to get their attention. So that cured my social anxiety. And also it healed something from my childhood. So even though it didn't make sense to me, I did it. And then I left that. I wasn't happy as a teacher, obviously. I meditated. And the universe allowed me or said to me, take your daily tarot reading and put it on YouTube. And that has become my work. That has become my job. That is what I do. And it was given to me through listening to my intuition, listening to spirit. I could have never imagined doing what I do. No one in my family is self-employed. I would have never considered self-employment. So that's what I'm saying. The imagination is going to help you today to realize that, yes, it's possible. You don't just go, I'll never make it. Neptune's going to say, yeah, you can make it. Other relationships, just bear with me. It connects via a semi-square, 45 degrees, with the midheaven in Sagittarius at 11 degrees. Wow. Sagittarius is the centaur. He explores and he's after broadening his horizons, her horizons. Sagittarius is about learning, discovering, and really understanding what it's all about, and also exploring the world and exploring higher realms of knowledge and really saying, what is this all about? What does it all mean? I want to learn and I want to teach other people. It's at 11 degrees. 11 in numerology is the master number of service. So this dripping blood moon is not the end of the world. It's the beginning of you finding your working life purpose that will allow you to progress spiritually and to be of service to other people. Perfect. I think this is the best eclipse we've seen. The Sun also quincunxes Saturn in Capricorn at 3 degrees. So the sun forming this positive, harmonious relationship, sun is your identity, remember, forming this really solid relationship with Saturn. Saturn is at 3 degrees, and 3 is communication and thinking. So you're really going to be calm within yourself. It's not, you know, when you think about doing new things, like, oh, I think I should move. And as soon as you think, it's like, oh, panic, I can't do it. Oh, it's going to be so much. It's going to be so expensive. And then even before you thought, just like within a second of having the idea, all your fears have already just piled on top of it and destroyed it. The connection with Saturn ensures that you don't do that, because it's like, okay, I'm having an idea, fear is coming up, but it's my idea, I honor it, and I don't have to freak out about it. Oh, look, there's the fear. It's going, bye. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's right. Feeling is more right. If you feel it, it's usually right. But thinking, I think that's where the ego sits, up here. So you can't always trust your thinking. I think your feelings you can trust much more, especially if you really connect with yourself through a spiritual practice. Okay, let's wrap this up. I don't want to bore you. Any other things here? Okay, we've got the midheaven, Saturn. Okay, I've got all of that. Yup. That's it. The only other thing I would like to mention is that Mercury is in retrograde during this period. It's in Leo at 23 degrees. Mercury in Leo is very boom. It's like, look at me. I dance, I sing, and I tell jokes. In retrograde, when Mercury retrograde, it's the communication planet. You have to find new ways of thinking, and you have to find new ways of communicating. It's great when Mercury in Leo goes retrograde, because you're able to look at yourself and where you are on the scale of low self-esteem to arrogance. And you'll be able to see where you are and kind of make the changes you want. I go into more detail about this in the weekly horoscope, because Mercury goes retrograde on the 25th of July. So in the weekly horoscope, I go into more detail of how the retrograde is going to affect you. So that's what I get for this eclipse. I'm just looking at Jupiter, and that forms a trine with Neptune, so that's good. Listening to your feelings and imagining things is going to lead to good luck and solidity and security. Jupiter also squares the rising sign in Aquarius, which is at 18 degrees. So there's a lot of powerful Aquarian energy in the air. It squares Jupiter, so there's friction there. So it says, listen to your feelings and look at yourself first and the blood moon and your passions, and don't think so much. Feel, don't think so much. So I have to call my great aunt because she's all alone, and I have to make sure that she's not lonely and bored, even though she hit me as a kid. That's the thinking, and that's the guilt. That's what we're releasing. And when we release something, we make space for something new. And that's where the good luck of Jupiter comes in. Your feelings will guide you and lead you via this beautiful eclipse to your passion. And the moon, the blood moon, is such a beautiful symbol of that. It's like, this is what my heart bleeds for. I really desire this. So it's not just going to be, oh yeah, I could be an architect. It's going to be like, I need to be an architect right now. It's going to feel, you're going to be taken at the core of who you are, and you're going to be like, this is what you want. And if you don't feel that, for whatever reason, if you're just in your head and you just can't get out of your head, or if you're in a time where you really have to use your thinking and you're having to plan arguments for the future in court cases, and it just there's a lot going on in your mind and you don't have the presence of mind to tap into your feelings, then again, that's where people like me come in, where I can look at your chart to draw up your birth chart. So what I've done, the chart that you're seeing here on the side of me, that's a snapshot of the sky at the moment of this eclipse, when this is going to happen, okay? But I can also create a snapshot of the sky, that is your natal chart, when you were born, by entering your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. And then I have a similar wheel, and I can analyze what your life purpose is, what your talents are when it comes to work, where, your vocational aptitudes, where you've been in past lifetimes and what you're trying to achieve this time around. I can also look at what's destined for you in love and money and health, and what's coming up in each one of those areas of your life. I use tarot and numerology as well. I combine all three, and I use my intuition. The divination systems allow me to tap into my intuition because I'm a triple earth sign. I need something physical to tap into the spiritual. That's my key. We all have different keys. And then I'm able to give you a really clear and direct insight into why you're here and what you're going to be good at. If you don't have the time of birth, I can use sunrise, or I can rectify your chart. Chart rectification just means that I work out your time of birth when you give me a certain amount of facts. So you can, if you're interested in that, then either email me, readings@gregoryscott.co.uk, or just go to the website, gregoryscott.com, click on the contact form, and get in touch with me that way. It just comes to the email. If you'd like to order a reading with me, please get in touch as well via the, that was the German coming through, via the website, gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab and you can order your reading there. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It really helps me and it really makes a difference. So hit the subscribe button, please. This is what I get for the full moon. But I think, I'm sorry, it's 30 minutes, but it is a really complicated one. And I think there's also something else, which is that big T-square. Do you see the big triangle, which connects the sun and the moon, and then Uranus at the bottom? That big triangle is called a T-square, and it's a lot of friction. It just mainly means, what are you going to decide? Are you going to have a relationship with yourself and do something practical? Or are you going to leave it to other people? And that's really the big crunch of the day. Are you going to look at the blood moon and say, this is my passion? Or are you going to ignore the moon and do the grocery shopping and help everyone else and not yourself? And that's not easy. Guilt and shame and having to make amends and and not wanting to think about yourself, for some people that is a major issue. So please, if that's an issue for you today, just take one day out to think about yourself. This is really the one day where you can discover who you really are, what your passion is, and what you're going to be good at, so that you can make the world a better place. I know it sounds lame as, but if everyone of us chipped in to make the world a better place, it would be. That's it. Really, I promise. This time, that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful eclipse here. It's an amazing time. If you would like that private reading with me, then just order it on the website, like I mentioned. Have a wonderful week. Check out some of my other videos. I do daily tarot readings. I do weekly horoscopes for all signs of the zodiac, and I also do a monthly prediction for all signs, but then at the end of the video I narrow it down for your specific sun sign. So if you're a Sagittarius, or if you're a Scorpio or a Cancer, you'll be able to know how these energies affect you specifically here in July. So have a fabulous day. I will speak to you soon. It's been a pleasure being with you today, as always. I wish you all the very best, and I'll speak to you soon. everybody, this video is on the total lunar eclipse which happens on the 27th of July 2018. This is also a full moon in Aquarius which is interrupted because of the eclipse, and because it's interrupted, the effects of this are going to last for about 6 months. So these eclipses are always very important because they shape the rest of the year really. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of what this total lunar eclipse means for you in terms of your life and what's going to happen in the next 6 months. But just from an astronomy perspective, I just want to explain what a total lunar eclipse is. It's when the Earth comes in between the sun and the moon. So the Earth blocks, they're 180 degrees apart usually, and the sun illuminates the moon, right? That's why it's totally round, that's why it's full, and that's why it's a torch, because it's reflecting the sun's light. Now the Earth comes in between that, and the moon is in the Earth's shadow. And that's why this eclipse is going to look like a blood moon. It's going to look orangey reddish, because the shadow of the Earth, I think it's called the umbra, which is a nice word, umbra. That's the shadow that falls on the moon, and it makes it look reddish. And that's where we get the end of days predictions, you know, the end time predictions. This is not the end of the world, despite what this one, I think, minister is saying. I mentioned this in the weekly horoscope. It's not the end of the world. Part of the human condition is that we need an ending because we read books and watch films, so we're used to endings. It's a psychological need to get closure to the story. It's not the end of the world, so don't worry. It's a beautiful blood moon. It's going to look amazing. I love it when it's moody like that. And we've also got Mars, the red planet, really, really bright this week. Check out the weekly. I think it's on, I can actually look, hang on. You can see Mars all night here on the 27th as well. So Mars is the male principle of desire and passion and drive. So it's a time that's really exciting and fiery. So let's break this down and give you an idea of what's going on. Okay, so first of all, we have the sun at 4 degrees in Leo. So that's what's illuminating the moon. The sun in Leo is very happy. It rules Leo. It's at its most powerful. It's solid. We're in a time of consistent enjoyment, warmth, heat, passion, moving, people being confident and engaging with each other, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or not, it doesn't matter. This is astrological energy, and this time of year tends to be busier and people connect with each other, and that's what we experience as structure. Now the moon is at 4 degrees in Aquarius,